Good afternoon and welcome to the Pervasive Media Studio online lunchtime talk. These talks are live every Friday at 1 p.m, beaming out onto your smartphones, laptops, iPads, living room televisions, and now back in the building. We are also broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, so those of you watching online can pick the channel of your choice. I am really pleased to see you all back in here, and that people can join us whether you're in Bristol or not. I'm also very nervous, just to say that out loud. I've been doing this for 2 years, sat behind a computer in my own living room, and I'm really getting used to having legs again. My name's Luke. I'm the Pervasive Media Studio producer. I'm a white man with a ginger beard and a small mohawk, and I'm wearing a camouflage shirt. These talks are our chance to throw open the doors of the Pervasive Media Studio and for you to hear more from the people who work here and who are residents and people who are working on things that excite us. An especially big welcome to any of you who are new to what we do. Please raise your hands if that's you. Oh, I'm so delighted to see you all. So for those of you here who are new to what we're doing and those of you online who are watching and new to what we're doing, here's a little bit more about us. We are a diverse and collaborative community exploring creativity and technology with everything from comedy to coding and product development to performance art. We're a partnership between the Watershed and the University of the West of England and the University of Bristol. I'm trying to talk very slowly for Nikki's benefit. We're a home for embryonic ideas, research and development of new ideas, and the building of new companies. And we're a meeting place of both the creative and commercial industries. We offer studio space, desk space, meeting rooms, events, and opportunities, all for free for our residents. And we are a space for people and companies to take risks in their practice and make time for collaboration. A captioned and recorded version of this talk will be available after this talk has finished. There's a Q&A at the end of the talk. Those of you in the room who want to ask questions, I will be coming around with a roving mic, so you don't need to touch anything. Please feel free to keep your masks on while you're in. That's totally up to you. Those of you watching online, if you want to ask a question, just pop it in the chat, and Jade, our studio coordinator, will pick it out to ask. You can get news on all our future talks by heading to watershed.co.uk/studio, at PM Studio UK on Twitter, or at Pervasive Media Studio on Instagram, or by subscribing to this YouTube channel if you're watching online, or by subscribing to the newsletter on our website. For now, I'd like to introduce our speaker for today. Camille Aubry is an illustrator and now exploring creative technology. She's going to introduce the R&D project Live Illustration Expanded and explore how live illustration can transform physical and virtual environments and be a performance in itself. She's a French live illustrator and cartoonist based in Bristol, and she's been a resident in the studio since 2019, joining just before the pandemic started. Now she's exploring how to take her live drawing practice to the next level with the help of creative technologies. So please give a warm online and in the building welcome to Camille.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me okay. Thank you so much, Luke, for the introduction. So I am Camille, and I am a white woman. I'm 37. I've got a long, wavy, dark hair, and I'm wearing glasses, and I'm talking with a very strong French accent. So yeah, I can't seem to get rid of it. So yeah, I am here to talk about Live Illustration Expanded. It's an Arts Council funded R&D project. And first I will give you a little bit of background, then show you 2 videos, and finally there will be a Q&A at the end. So as Luke said, I'm a live illustrator and a cartoonist, and I'm originally from France. I'm now based in Bristol. And over 10 years ago, I studied architecture here in Paris, where I'm calling from today, and I specialized in scenography and set design. And then I came to the UK to study on the MA in illustration at Camberwell College of Arts. So today, aside from editorial illustrations and cartoons, I work as a live illustrator for academic, cultural, and industry events. So you might also have heard the words scribing or sketchnoting or graphic facilitation to describe this practice. I prefer personally using live illustration to talk about what I do. So it means, for example, that I will record what is happening during an event with drawings in real time, or that I will draw live to music during a concert. And I do so in physical and virtual spaces. So in December 2019, just as Luke explained, I became a resident of the Pervasive Media Studio with the idea to explore ways to enhance this live illustration practice with the help of creative technologies. So my aim with this project, Live Illustration Expanded, was to make a shift in my ability to produce and support stage events, be they physical or virtual stages. And it really came from the idea that currently the live illustration practice is mostly known as an add-on to the live event industry. So scribes like me, we are brought in to document the event as it happens, and we work up visually arresting summaries for distribution afterwards. So these are most of the time experienced by the audience as static images during breaks or after the event happened. And personally, I've always felt that there was an underexplored potential in how live illustration can transform physical and virtual environments and be a performance in its own right. So this brought me to learn about projection mapping and live streaming and how we could use those to amplify the live illustration practice. So I was very lucky to be surrounded by really an amazing team. And I think some of them are in the audience today, in the studio and on YouTube. So hopefully, we'll be able to participate as a team to the Q&A. And together we created 2 prototype collaborative performances, one physical and one virtual. We will show 2 short movies from these performances. And again, this is an R&D project, so very much work in progress. And yeah, I'm interested in finding out what you think about it, how this type of performance makes you feel, if you ever seen something similar, and exchange about this experience. So first, a poetry performance. So we worked with the poet Lawrence Hu, who I think is here in the public today, the multimedia design studio Limbic Cinema, creative technologist Toby Harris, and the photographer Khali this July, during 3 days of intense rehearsal and filming here at the Pervasive Media Studio, especially following COVID regulations and so on. It was really fun and it was a really rich experience. Just 2 words in terms of setup for those of you who are interested. I was drawing on an iPad using an application called Procreate, and this was connected to a laptop and projected onto the wall using a mapping software called MadMapper. This video is about 10 minutes long. There are 4 poems. They are written and performed by Lawrence Hu. The name of the poems are Inner City Tales, I Wish, Imhotep, and Africa. So if we could play the video now, please. Thank you.
So many misguided and divided, down into minor figures while outsiders snigger, as they watch on TV thinking, to hell with these fools with nothing to lose, they should have stayed in school instead of breaking the rules. But wait, we're not fools. We are the tools that are used to distract and confuse people's opinions on the news through pure distorted views. To push through the media to create hysteria. Oh my God, these people are so evil, don't let them near you, is the chat I hear. But let's be clear. How did we get here? With children raised in fear, locked in communities nobody wanted to go near. But now, people want to live here. So let the truth be known of how we have grown, deprived of care or concern from the scared and concerned. Due to society's neglect, people have to fret, as we have learnt to be cold-hearted to all but our own. But that is just a reflection of the love we have been shown. You see, In this time of turmoil and change, people have lost belief in the systems that many have relied on since coming of age. But through this uncertainty, souls have risen, looking to create new opportunities and driven by the need to succeed, not driven by greed, but the endless possibilities of planting a seed. In a world of contradictions with boundless destinations, for the future is not written. Fate is created by the will of the owner of the soul who strives and reaches for the goal of becoming whole with oneself. This is life's most precious treasure and its true wealth. It's a wealth we all can share. We just need to understand to be aware of all the people who need us to care so that we can all live a full life instead of one unable to bear. So let's unravel ourselves from the controlling spells of stories and tales from heaven to hell, forever being told this would be our fate, destined to a hell filled with hate. If we don't conform to the norm and behave well, hell no. Who knows what the future holds? So be bold, don't do as you're told, take hold and move towards the new while banking the old, for your life is a story that is yet to be told. I wish as a boy growing up, more of my history was shown. There was so much missing that could have helped me before I was grown. The history I was taught helped to fill me with anger and pain because it taught me my ancestors were slaves with no name. Captured, kidnapped, traded, and taken from their home. That's what I remember when my ancestors were shown. So when it came to history lessons, my interest was none, because whenever it covered my ancestors, they were savages and dumb. But many years after leaving school, my interest started to grow. And that is when I realized there is so much I didn't know. Much of what I was taught in school and told was fact, was really like someone explaining all your life on just one act. There is so much to be proud of, so much that has been achieved, but without going in search of the truth, I would have been deceived. From kings and queens that built great nations, to teachers and scholars that helped with our educations, from people who stood up to what they saw was wrong, to people who risked their life to help the sick get strong, from warriors that fought with so much pride, to all the people who for our cause died. These are just a few facts I found that turned my anger to joy, and I just wish they had taught to me when I was a boy. "5,000 years ago, a child was born who became a god, but nothing was taught about him in school, and I found this odd. His name is Imhotep, and through his life he achieved many things that resulted in Imhotep going from a common man to being worshipped by kings. Imhotep was born in Kemet and served under King Josiah as chancellor to the pharaoh. Imhotep had an amazing appetite for knowledge about things people didn't know. Imhotep was an intellect with vision and amazing wisdom, which is why Imhotep advised the next 3 kings on the ruling of the kingdom. Imhotep is regarded as the first architect who designed the step pyramid, which still stands today as a testament to just one of the great things Imhotep did. Imhotep was a great physician who diagnosed and treated over 200 diseases. Imhotep performed surgery, dentistry, and extracted medicine from plants and trees with ease. Imhotep was a great scribe who recorded what he thought, and through these actions, Imhotep's knowledge could be taught. Imhotep became a high priest that people went to for enlightenment, which Imhotep gave freely as he believed it was everybody's entitlement. Imhotep had a full life and lived to a grand old age. But when Imhotep died, it wasn't the end of his chapter, more like the turning of a page. 100 years after Imhotep's death, he was elevated to the position of a medical demigod. 2,000 years later, Imhotep was elevated again, but this time to a god. The Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans worshipped Imhotep and what he believed. And through this understanding of Imhotep's work, much they too achieved. The early Christians worshipped Imhotep too, and viewed him as one with Christ, which goes to show that Imhotep was viewed by many up there with the highest. Imhotep was a man who became a god because of people's belief in him, which is a remarkable achievement when we look at Imhotep's beginning. So no matter where your life may start, you never know where it will end. And that is the message from these words I would like to send. Africa's history is so much more than what is usually shown. That is why, through learning more, my love for Africa has grown. If we look past the barbarianism of slavery and its legacy, we will be able to see Africa's inner beauty and true history. Africa gave birth to the first civilizations that expanded and grew into great nations. From these great nations, great knowledge was taught. Through these teachings, more knowledge was sought. But it wasn't all about development and control. Much was about being true to nature, spirit, and soul. What I would like you all to do is have a good look at Africa too. Africa's a continent that is so vast, with so many stories buried in her past. With which one to begin with is something I couldn't tell. So I hope you go in search of many, and I wish you all well.
Hello, thank you so much. Can I just say thank you so much to the BSL interpreters today? Amazing. And I just wanted to give a shout out as well to Lights Off and Films 59, who worked on the post-production of this short movie and who did an amazing work. There will be links shared at the end of the talk if you want to find out more about Lawrence and Libic Cinema, as well as the rest of the team. So for me, it was really interesting to compare this experience with the usual live illustration practice, where as scribes we draw alongside an event, because in this traditional scenario of scribing, we are more in the background, following what is happening and capturing what people are saying with drawings. And the immersive aspect of live illustration is limited to short interactions with the audience and event participants. But this time it was really about acting collaboratively. So Lawrence and I had to find the right pace and movements within the live illustration and spoken words process so that the poetry and its messages were amplified and responding to each other in time was projection mapping. And it really felt like a co-directing process, with no specific hierarchy. And I don't think this was only due to our personalities, but also to the nature of the live illustration practice, its accessibility and malleability. So we also work on a sound art performance, a virtual sound art performance with the sound artist Javier Velastin and creative technologist Toby Harris. And we met online several times to experiment with live streaming softwares. Our idea was to find a way to overlay Javier live performance output with my live illustration canvas. We first worked on something called Stream Voodoo. It's a streaming platform capable of connecting multiple HD video feeds with very few latency. And we unfortunately didn't manage to make the most of its performance due to timing. So we ended up working directly on OBS Studio. It's a free and open source cross-platform streaming and recording program with me drawing on a pre-recorded video of Javier's performance, which is obviously not ideal. It's not following the initial idea of live collaboration, but it still allows us to show you what is possible with live illustration and animation online. And actually, in terms of process, for me, the recording you're gonna see was very much live. I am drawing live indeed, without any safety net or editing afterwards. So the video is about 15 minutes long. If we could show the second video, please. Thank you. I was muted. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. The next steps for this virtual performance are obviously to do this live, and also to be more ambitious in terms of art direction, take the time to give more depth and interaction between the sound and the drawings. So in conclusion, I personally really enjoyed doing this research project. For me, the collaborative and immersive aspect of it was most enjoyable. So one of the things that strike me with this project is how I conveyed that it is easy to make people travel with you when you are drawing live and to unpack them somewhere else. And I love the fact that it doesn't need a complicated setup for it to work. You know, it's just a drawing. I mean, obviously we can take this to different levels of elaboration, but at the end of the day, it's just a cartoon. It's just a drawing. So for the next steps, I'm interested in continuing to collaborate on performances and explore how performers can interact with live illustration. I'm also interested in finding out how to combine both physical and virtual live illustration performances. For example, is it possible to live draw remotely and be projected at the same time? And I feel that this can open a lot of interesting conversations and, you know, give the live illustration practice a seat on the table to live event industry. So yeah, I just wanted to say massive thank you to the whole team. There is a slide, if we can put it up, with everyone's name and link. And yeah, it was a real privilege to work with everyone. I've learned a lot by their side. So yeah, I'd love to talk about this and answer any questions if there are any in the room or in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Camille. She's back. There we go. Does anybody have any questions for Camille? Oh, one at the back. Oh, yeah. One. No, it's okay. We'll go to the internet next. That's it. Yeah.
So on both videos, it looked like you were drawing on like a flat surface, and especially on the first one with the poetry, that was sort of behind the poet. Is there any scope to sort of put the illustrations on like a 3D object or a 3D background or sculptures or things like that?
Did you get that, Camille?
Yeah, very well. Thank you for your question. Yeah, definitely. Like I was saying, this is just the first step. I didn't know anything about projection mapping before starting this project 6 months ago, and yeah, I definitely want to try out and be more ambitious about this kind of things. I think now it depends, you know, in terms of opportunities, what comes out. But yeah, definitely, it would be so interesting. For the poetry performance, there was actually not a flat completely, because there was the background wall, but there was also a little blackboard on the side. So there was 2 projections going on at the same time. I think it's going to be online anyway afterwards if you want to catch up with him.
Great, thanks. And we have a question from the internet.
Ooh.
So firstly, I was wondering if you sort of planned it in advance, is there scope where you could kind of get people moving and kind of interacting with the illustrations? And is that something that you would want to do?
Yeah, thank you for this question. Yeah, definitely. So in terms of preparing in advance, it was especially for the poetry performance, it was very I'm not sure how to say this properly, choreographed. Like we worked really hard on movement and pace, like pace of the voice, but also of Lauren's movement and how fast I draw. And it was a whole, you know, that took 3 days to make. And yeah, I'd love to make it even more interactive, and, you know, like it's not only doing a set design, it's, you know, it can be completely part of the performance. And for example, Javier's on a virtual performance could, catch one of the balloon or like swim in the sea or whatever. That's definitely, some areas I'd like to explore to make it even more interactive.
Thanks, Camille. Any other questions? Oh, 1, 2, and then 3, and 4.
Yeah, I have a related question. I was also wondering about feedback, but my real question is, what's it like for the performer? I guess this is a question for Lawrence, actually. Lawrence, what did it feel like to be drawn on?
The whole thing was fun. It was just a fun experience. The thing was, it was managing to pace poetry and bring that back, so it was slowing down. That was the main piece, was just changing the pace with some of the poetry I normally do. I perform it out with people. So it's just a question that for you to get the illustrator around it, but the whole experience really was like, it was 3 days of work, but it's really 3 days of fun. Yeah. And the thing to draw, yeah, it was like he was a child. And then, yeah, so.
Does that answer the question?
Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
I was wondering, how does colour impact upon the final sort of outcome? I've noticed it was quite, is it monochrome? Well, it wasn't many colours, so how does colour impact upon it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's more a question for Toby or Limbic Cinema, and I don't know if Toby's in the room, but I can tell you from my point of view drawing, we felt for the physical performance with the projection and with Lawrence, and that it was more striking to draw monochrome. And then for the virtual performance, it is totally possible to use colors to a certain degree, but I think this is more a personal thing where I draw a lot in black and white. But this is definitely something that I'd like to research more, maybe even if not making it multicolor, but bring other colors in would definitely be interesting.
Thank you.
In terms of the sound art video, how the live illustration was integrated whilst the guy was performing in front, how was that done?
Yeah, thank you. So ideally it would have been done live and time, budget, R&D, so on. So we ended up using a pre-recorded video of Javier, so the sound artist. He filmed himself, and then I drew on that video using a streaming software called a streaming platform called OBS, which allows you to overlay two videos. But this is why I think for us we wanted ideally to be more ambitious with this and give more depth and have more interaction and not being flat on flat, but yeah, give more perspective to it. So this is definitely the next step for this. I hope that answers your question. Is that, yeah.
So this is one from Vic. She said, Camille, this is a fabulous project. If you could illustrate anything or anyone in the world, what would you choose?
Oh my God. Well, to be honest, I feel very privileged to have worked with Lawrence and Javier. Like, I love what they do. But I mean, this is an endless question. If I look at what I'm listening on my iPhone every day, there'll be people like that work with, music, atmospheric music, electronic music. I would love to do this, but I just non-boundaries. I would love to work with theatre productions as well, dancers, explore, movement and sound and so on. Sorry, I can't answer this question. This is so hard.
So we have time for one more question.
Hey, Camille,
your work is beautiful and really inspiring. Have you tried other mediums that might impact your drawings? Maybe like closing your eyes or changing where you're drawing or using your less dominant hand to make something? And if you've done that, how does that impact your drawing?
So, do you mean, I just want to make sure I understand well, try to have more constraint in terms
Not
of drawing?
necessarily constraint, but trying to just explore more by closing your eyes, or just not knowing what might your outcome be on the paper?
To be honest, no, I haven't, but I'll keep that in mind. That sounds like, yeah, another avenue to explore. Thanks.
Okay, thank you everyone. Big round of applause for Camille, please.
And the team, thank you.
So, before you depart online and depart the building, next week there is no talk, but we've scheduled to rebroadcast a talk about the environment and the climate crisis by Zoe Rasbash, who's Watershed's environmental action researcher. You can watch that talk on YouTube as normal, or join the climate strike, totally up to you. You can get news on all our future talks, as I said before, at watershed.co.uk/studio, at PM Studio UK on Twitter, or at Pervasive Media Studio on Instagram, or by coming to a talk and just taking a chance on what happens. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's watching online, and for those of you who've come into the building. I cannot tell you how much it warms my heart to see physical bodies in the space for the second time in 2 weeks. We'll see you all again, same time, same place, next week.